Yes.
We didn't have non-public input.
So we all sat here and
enough
made a
public
motion
input.
and accepted this. That's pretty bad.
I'm going to call the motion. All in favor of the motion to have the public meeting? It's carried. Thanks, man. Oh, here's, stay right there. 8.7, report 37 for the proposed automation collection of shortage. You want to take us, comments on this? It's a report for council direction.
Yeah, all we're really looking for is, we're not looking for full approval of this initiative. We're just kind of similar vein where we want to start thinking about having a public open house to communicate, and just looking for direction from council to for us to start planning that and when we'd like to see it.
Sure, I'll move that an informal open house be held in the summer months for interested residents to view information, use sample containers, speak with council and staff, and provide comment on proposals.
Okay, Councilor Scott?
Can we add a friendly amendment that it be held in the south and the north, so that we do two separate
We'll let them
meetings?
set up appropriate public meetings where there might be 2 or 3
Okay, we can note that.
open houses. Councilor Watson?
Could I ask the DRA rep time-wise, what are you looking at? When would you like to see these held?
It was last fall, wasn't it?
Yeah. You
wanted the answer, last fall.
What would your second choice be?
No, my second choice is, I think Brandon and Nick have done an excellent job. They've met with Francis, and this is exactly what we had to do. We found out at Blue Water that of all the municipalities that are going to enact this, we have to be exactly what the mission is about. I told you guys that a year ago, that the news, that information delivery has to be well done, and we have so many seasonal residents, so many small birders, we have so many places to deliver on. You have to do exactly what the motion says, and I congratulate you for, this is where we need to go. They need to just get on with it. That's how to do it. Thank you.
All in favor of that? Carried. Item 38, Legacy Center update. Councilor Cook?
Receiving stuff. With great report. Thank you for the report. Excellent report.
Yep. Seconded. Councilor Russell? Questions? All in favor of that? Carried. 8.9, report 39, Communities in Bloom update. Councilor Russell? Seconded. Councilor Cook? Questions? All in favor of that? Carried. 8.10. This is report number 40. Group activities and updates. Deputy Mayor Day.
I think it's really important that, with regards to the report here, which was well done again, thanks for council reports, that we do draw on engineering experts to help us to define the flows that we need in the next 20 years. That will allow sufficient room for unexpected eventualities as well. And of course, if we highly overestimate the flows, we'll be paying the increased percentages of operating, capital, and life cycle replacement costs, which will then increase the fees to existing users, and if we don't actually bring that flow on. So I'd like to make a motion that council directs staff to request a quote from Stantec, which was recommended in the report, on how much it would cost us to define the flows of the proposed sewage treatment facility or lagoon upgrade for the next 20 years.
Second that for discussion. I believe this would actually be a reconsideration of the motion of the flows from the existing motion that's in the report. Right? I would ask, is that an update on the flows different than the motion that is there, the working group directed to work towards two treatment plant with possible phased approach while the existing flows and parameters of the master plan are as it stands.
Yeah, how full the motions are in the
is of reconsideration. There were two issues, though, that were identified in the report. The first issue is who decides what, and so the motion should be specifically Lambton Shores, if we're talking flows, because Lambton Shores will deal with Lambton Shores flows. Blue Water has to make their decisions, South Huron has to deal with their flows. So that's something that needs to be understood before we go anywhere. And as for the rest of it, yeah, we need a reconsideration because we should be using the flows for, in the current master plan, the 2235, and build a plant capable of that capacity. I guess just we've determined our flows how many times. Staff has done that. That was part of the ESA. There were questions about a number of things like seasonality, that this report wasn't dealing with seasonality. We've never dealt with that, and that's not correct. There is a section from the Dillon report back in 2006 that dealt with seasonality. That's been discussed and dealt with in the determination of the flows. Another issue that was raised is census data, and I guess somewhere I have a report from the county that talks about the census data and some of the concerns around the Lambton Shores determinations. But we know that if we're looking at the Grand Band area, yes, Lambton Shores is decreasing, but the Grand Band area increased from 2005 to 2011, and increased by about 3.8%. So we know that the population is not stagnant in the area that we're talking about. And then the other issue, I guess, is this going to be about removing Zone 3 and 4 or not removing Zone 3 and 4 in 20 years' time? I guess we need to be thinking very carefully about that, because we're talking a long-term project here. And we know, I dug out one of the copies. I mean, Nick had gone to a lot of work to pull together the diagrams for us, and then he had worked it into in 5 years, what's this going to look like, in 10 years, 15, and 20. And the red, and the age of the septic systems, I mean, we're looking at 80, 70, 60, 50 years, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, we can't be tying our hands 20 years down the road. So I certainly have some concerns with making a change.
The motion's been moved and seconded that we deal with that, and I believe this is a reconsideration. So I would ask, I think the first motion that would be in order is whether we want to reconsider this.
It's a second motion.
Second.
My motion is that we actually hire an engineering company, and the motion that's in here deals with whether we stay within the master plan and the existing EA, which is really a second, that's independent. Because we could have an engineer that deals with the flows of the master plan EA, or they can deal with things that are not the master plan EA, something different. But the question in my motion is simply whether we should hire an engineer or not, to help us define that clearly for 20 years. So I think we need to stay with that question and take a vote on that, whether we should have an engineer, and then we can talk about these other questions, whether we should be staying within the master plan, or whether Zone 3 and 4 should be in or out, and what our expectations are. We going to have a sewer inspection system, a septic inspection system, or we're working with the health system, the health experts here. So that's a secondary question. But I think my motion is purely just whether we should hire an engineer and ask for a quote from Stantec.
That would also be a reconsideration of the motion of the report that we have from our engineer Dillon and our planner on what our flows are. We've received that at council at this table and approved that on more than one occasion. We've had it reviewed and reapproved it. So that is also a reconsideration. Councillor Bonstein.
Just maybe on a point of clarification here, and I believe we're going to look at Mr. Sharon's letter as part of this discussion, so I'm just referring back to it. I think